In this life, there is nothing as good as understanding how to set goals, and especially setting financial goals. Now, I know there are people who will teach and say, no, there is no need of setting any goals in life. There is no need of setting goals. You just do what you need to do and just move. Well, I don't know about that. But one of the things I know is that you can be able to set goals for yourself. The goals you set, they help you and challenge you to actually go for something. You know, when you look at a football match or a soccer match, you know, either football or soccer, I'm saying football because here in America, football is another totally different game from what Europe and Africa and some other nations would call football. There we call it soccer. Here we have something called football, and also we have soccer. Just a side thing. All right. Now, whenever you are playing, they always have a goal post. They have a goal somewhere everybody is aiming to go to. They all are focused on one thing. They all are focused towards something. Now, that's the same thing whenever we talk about setting goals, and especially when we talk about setting financial goals, we are looking at a scenario where you are focusing towards a particular thing. Now, you don't need to set 100 goals. Personally, I encourage people to set one goal. If it goes a lot, maybe 2 goals, but one goal is always a good thing, because when you focus on one goal, you're actually going to attain it. You see, if you have several goal posts and you're trying to score all the places, it doesn't work very well. But when you have one, you are able to put your energy there, you are able to put your mind there, you are able to put everything that has to do there, and you are able actually to achieve, ultimately look back and say, hooray, I have actually scored my goal because I have done it. Now, we have what we call short-term goals, and we have what we call long-term goals. Now, when it comes to the financial world, or rather when we talk about setting financial goals, and I'm talking about clear financial goals, we need to look at a few things. Number one, when we talk about short-term goals, we are talking about goals of small things that you're doing here and there. For example, one of the goals that should be a short-term goal is when you're finding yourself in a place of debts, and those debts, instead of reducing, they are accumulating. The best thing you can do is to set a goal and say, you know what, I'm going to start clearing my debts. It's a short-term thing. You don't clear debts forever and ever or a long time. You decide, you know, before I move into anything, before I do anything in as far as developing myself, or before I develop and make myself better, the first and foremost is I must start offsetting my debts. Debts can be a nuisance. Debts can slow you down. Debts can actually cause you not to be able to go far. I mean, that's something that you need to understand by now. Those of you who are in debt, you will agree with me that debts can actually cause you to be very slow in as far as things are concerned. Incidentally, the Bible talks about debts here and there. In several places, the Bible talks about debts. But the one thing the Bible mentions again and again is that the person who has debts is a slave to the lender, or is a slave to the one he owes money. That is why you must start by clearing debts, because the moment you clear debts, everything else will be fine. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. The second short-term goal is that you must learn how to build emergency fund. You know, trying to do your savings, try to have money that is aside. That is something you need to always have. One of the lessons I've discovered in life is that when you are a spender and you do not know how to keep money aside for a rainy day, when the rainy day or the emergency day comes, or something is not okay and you need money comes, you get yourself into a place of crisis. That is why, as a short-term goal, one of the things you need to do in the financial world is that you must learn to create emergency fund kit, or a savings of a kind which you put money aside for moments where there is shortage or moments where there is lack. There's a principle we find from a man called Joseph. Joseph comes before Pharaoh. He's just come from prison. He has been called to come and interpret a dream which Pharaoh has, and he interprets the dream, and the dream is talking about cows that were fat which swallowed cows that were thin. And then the interpretation that Joseph gets is this, is that there is a season that is coming where 7 years will be 7 years of plenty, and then there's going to be 7 years of lack, of drought, of no food. So he says the wisdom which we need to imply to bring forth at this moment is that during the 7 years of plenty, we need to accumulate and to save. We need to prepare for the 7 years of lack. In other words, he was telling them we need to have an emergency fund or emergency kit so that during the 7th year where things are bad, we shall still be having something to work with. In fact, he says we shall have something for ourselves, and we shall even be able to sell it to the nations who are going to come to us and buy, because they will not be having this revelation. Now, what am I saying right now? Whenever we talk about short term, you need to think in terms of clearing your debts, and then the second thing, you need to start thinking in terms of putting money aside for those moments when things are bad. Because believe me, everybody somewhere, somehow, there is a time you experience those times when things are, you are in a kind of a shaky moment. You need something you can be able to fall back to and then be able to use it for that period of time, so that when the time comes and things are rough, you have something you can work with. The other thing is, when you talk about goals, is that you must also have long-term goals. Long-term goals have to do with what? They have to do with the things that you're thinking to do ahead. They have to do with in terms of investing. There are investments you have to do. There are things that you have got to involve yourself within as far as your finances are concerned. You have to think in terms of your retirement. You have to think in terms of the days that are coming. The Bible says, "And a good man leaves an inheritance to his children and his children's children." A good man leaves an inheritance to his children and his children's children. What that basically means, this is a man who thinks long term. This is a man who is thinking what is going to happen to my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. There are people here in this country in America who are actually eating from what their great grandfathers did. I wish I had a scenario like that. I was watching a program the other day and I was seeing people who were talking about their great grandfathers. They're enjoying the wealth which their great grandfathers did. Today, some people are born in riches. They were born in riches. They die in riches. They keep on staying in riches because somebody somewhere in the generation did something. Don't you think it would be a great idea if your grandchildren and your great grandchildren could also eat from what you have already done? But how will that happen? That will only happen if today you start having a mindset of setting goals that are long term. Start getting yourself into places of investments. Start getting yourself into places where you're starting businesses and you are putting yourself in places where you can be able to generate money, or you can be able to make money with the mind of your grandchildren and great grandchildren eating from what you are making. I tell you the truth, it is possible. But remember what I said in another video, you must have financial intelligence and you must have financial literacy for you to come to that kind of a place. That is why you must make use of the resources that are available. Take time to listen to people who are teaching, people who are successful. We have people all over. We have books all over. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I think that's what his name is called. The Millionaire Next Door. I have men like Myron Golden. I watch him on YouTube almost every day. I love the teachings he does. And other men and women, both Christian and even secular people, who can actually teach you as far as money world is concerned. You cannot afford to live and just live one day at a time, hoping that one day everything is going to be okay. You must take the initiative, set the goals and say, you know what, by the end of the year, I want to see myself having achieved this kind of a goal. I want to see myself having accumulated this kind of a money. And within that period of time, I want to start doing these following things. That is so important. This issue of getting rich is not coming just because you sat down and you slept and you dreamt and you woke up and boom, you are rich. It doesn't work like that. You must take particular steps. You see, that's what I even tell our believers and our Christians. Listen, it's nice you go to church. It's nice your pastor lays hands on you. But once he has laid hands on you, don't sit and just wait manna from heaven to rain. Manna doesn't work like that. In fact, you'd be surprised when manna was raining from heaven, even after raining, people still used to go out to pick it up. That means for you to get money, you must always go for it. They went for the manna. It rained from heaven, but they went for it. They went for it. Don't forget that. They went for it. It did not meet them inside the house. They did not wake up in the morning and find the manna on the plates and the manna in the cups and the manna in the pots. No, 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 no. The Bible says the manna rained outside. And when it rained outside, they had to go out and collect it. That means God has already released the blessing, but you have to go out and get the blessing. When the pastor lays hands on you, thank God for it. When you bring in your tithes and your offerings on Sunday, thank God for it. But at the end of the day, God releases the blessing, but you got to go out and get it. So what am I saying? Set goals for yourself. Get goals for yourself. And then after you set goals for yourself, understand it's a great thing. You become a good person, a good man, when you leave an inheritance for your children and your children's children. What am I saying to you today? Financial goals that are clear will help you as far as your life is concerned. Set them. Don't be reluctant in setting goals for yourself. Remember, they have to be SMART goals. That means they are specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, they are relevant, and of course they are time bound. Time bound means what? You set time limits for yourself. You say, by this particular time I need to see this having happened. Come on now. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Now remember, I want us to meet in the field of the millionaires. If you're here for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. And if you can be able to share what you have just heard, go ahead and share it right now. Like this video. And remember, every day, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm here in this channel speaking to you things that motivate you, that build you, that bless you, that help you to move to the next level. Set goals and become a millionaire. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.